Hello, I'm David Lozada and welcome to Rappler's Project Move, our series of discussions on safety and preparedness. We aim to foster a culture of preparedness and foresight in the month of March. This month is devoted to fire safety, and today we have experts in the field of fire prevention who will discuss the real-life perils and implications of neglect and lack of knowledge. So, welcome to Rappler. We have guests from the Bureau of Fire Protection here. And to start off the discussion, maybe Engineer Ariel Miranda, who's the Chief of the Fire Safety Enforcement Division of the Bureau of Fire Protection, can talk about the general concept of fire safety.
Okay,
Sir.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
So remember that in general concept of safety, I call it the octagonal for a modern building,
Okay.
which comprises, when we say octagonal, all sides are equal.
Okay.
Emphasis to give priority for a certain building or facilities.
Okay. So, in general, how's the concept of fire safety in the Philippines?
Well, the general concept of fire safety in the Philippines, we determine sometimes most of the building are lacking of the fire safety measure. Okay. So this will be augmented by the Republic Act 9514.
Okay. I think we have a presentation from
Yeah.
Mr. Miranda. Okay. So, sir, in your experience, like, how's in the past years, the fire incidents in the Philippines, has it been increasing or decreasing?
Well, as of this date, March, up until March, we have already 230, lower than previously in March 2014.
Okay.
But in 2013 and 14 compared, we have a total of, I think, 10,000 2013, and in 2014 we have 12,000. But to give an emphasis that most of the building, occurrence of fire building is lowered. Most of the statistics are coming from what we call grass fire electrical posts.
Okay. So, sir, maybe you can talk about the octagonal
Yeah.
model you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So the slide, please. So the octagonal approach for fire safety comprises of different sides. No. First, the key aspect of fire safety. The key aspect of fire safety are divided into three. One is the first element is the prevention, and the second one is the detection. And the last one will be the firefighting. Okay. It's better to go first in the prevention rather than to firefighting already. And next one is the fire test. In a fire test, most of the requirements in a certain building, supposedly there will be what we call the fire resistance rating. Fire resistance rating meaning that a certain period of time, materials will not be burned. Like for example, if the material is rated for 1 hour, so within 1 hour of burning the building, it will not yet ignite. But after 1 hour, that's the time. And the next one will be the provision for rescue and firefighting. The Bureau of Fire Protection always trying to determine for a certain building to be erected and to have an ocular inspection so that when the fire responding team can position in a certain area wherein they can maneuver. Okay. Because most of the road in our city and even in urban, the way is so narrow. Okay. The next one is smoke control. This smoke control is very important in a certain building because most of the people died not because of the fire itself, because the smoke inhalation or what we call asphyxiation. Okay. The last is the active fire protection. Active fire protection are those already integrated in the building, like for example, the sprinkler system, the span pipe system, the fire alarm system. And next is the structural fire protection. When we say structural fire protection, during the construction of the building, you already constructing
in a way that it's safe.
Yes, like for example, the firewall, the protection for the penetration in an atrium, an opening or vertical opening. And the last one is the next one is the compartmentation. Compartmentation is very important. To give a good example of this, one room to another room which is different usage. For example, the one is storage and the other one is kitchen. So the compartmentation we are calling is the partition is from the flooring up to the topmost flooring of that area. So that is spread fire will not spread from one unit to another unit. And the most important thing is what we call the means of egress for the loss of the octagonal.
Okay.
Because in the Bureau of Fire Protection, if your home without any fire exit or secondary exit, that is our what we call the major violation in our Fire Code of the Philippines.
Okay. So, sir, maybe we can talk more about the fire safety in building. We have here Senior Inspector Jan Gary Lunas, Chief of Fire Safety Enforcement of the Bureau of Fire Protection, NCR. Sir, welcome. Can you talk more about fire safety in buildings? Because Sir Miranda has been talking about like it's better to build parang when you're still building the building, you have to make sure that you have in mind the fire safety already. So what are the tips or what are the concepts?
Yes, David. Actually, the law mandates that these fire safety features or fire safety systems be included in the building. That's mandated by the building code, that's mandated by the fire code. Now, when you go to the Fire Code of the Philippines, there are certain fire safety systems that must be installed, meaning the mandatory ones.
Yes.
There are also systems that are recommendatory and not mandatory. Okay, I'd like to start from sprinkler systems. Now, for sprinkler systems are basically, as if you can see in the presentation, these are the usually the things that are protruding in the ceiling. No? If you're familiar with high-rise buildings, you can see an object there that is protruding. Commonly, you will see a red filament at the protrusion, and that is the one bursting when there's a fire or when the temperature of that filament is reached, meaning it bursts and then it discharges water. That is what we usually see in movies. Sometimes you see movies that there's a big flow of water. In real life situation, all sprinkler heads, that's not actually hindi naman sila lahat nagbe-burst at the same time, meaning only the protected areas are actually bursting. As I have explained, this filament, yung pula or yung yellow, depending on the application, yun yung pumuputok at yun ang nagiging paraan or nagiging way para lumabas yung tubig. Okay. If you can see in the presentation, nakikita mo may parang umbrellang lumalabas. It's an umbrella kung saan doon lumalabas yung tubig, no? It actually discharges water on the fire so that the fire will be extinguished at an early stage. Very important yung sprinkler system, especially for high-rise buildings.
Yes.
No, you can just imagine if you are, say, for example, we are holding here dito sa 25th floor and there's a fire in the 10th floor.
Yeah.
Tapos hindi na suppress yun ng maaga. So what will happen? All of the upper floors will be affected. So sprinkler is there to protect the occupant, to suppress the fire at its early stage. Now, when do we require sprinkler systems? So, as I have mentioned, doon sa high-rise buildings. Secondly, places of assembly. Sa places of assembly, like cinemas, theaters, required siya. Kasi pag sinabi nating places of assembly, these are buildings or portions of building which can accommodate 50 or more persons. Okay? Doon sa mga establishments na yun, required yung sprinkler system. Examples yung discotheques, bars with live entertainment, and then even if say for example a building is not classified as public assembly, halimbawa opisina lang, no? Opisina. Alam niyo ngayon may mga offices or commercial buildings na ginagawang simbahan ng isang congregation, no? Yung simbahan na yon, pag nag-accommodate ng 300 katao, 300 persons, then that building is also required to be protected with sprinkler systems.
I have a question. How do you track the buildings that have or that follow the law in fire prevention?
The fire code mandates that before a building permit is issued by the building official, the applicant or the owner of the building must apply for a fire safety evaluation clearance. Meaning the building official cannot issue the building permit without first the fire department checking
Yes.
the propriety of the building plan. Then, after completion of the construction, the building official cannot issue the certificate of occupancy without the fire safety inspection certificate issued by the fire marshal of the city. So that's how we track. And then, of course, there is a regular inspection, an annual inspection by the fire department. Okay.
Can citizens parang, do they have a way to check their own buildings na parang to know if their buildings or for example their residences follow the code? Parang saan sila lalapit and
Yeah.
what can they do?
They can always go to the fire department and ask. No? But we also suggest, or we also recommend, or the fire code mandates that this fire safety inspection certificate that was issued to that building must be posted in a conspicuous place within the building, so that the occupant will be notified, or they should be at least kampante sila that the building is really compliant with the mandates of the fire code and then the building code. Yearly also, that fire safety inspection certificate must be renewed. Okay, so if they think that the fire safety inspection certificate is no longer valid, then they can go to their building management, the building administrator, and ask them to have the inspection renewed. And then they can also go directly to the fire department and ask or request that an inspection be made to their building.
Okay. Sige. So sir, most of the fires that we have, like when we see it in the news, it's usually caused by electrical parang damages. No? So we have here Mr. Frumencio Tan, safety consultant of the Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers of the Philippines, and he'll talk about electrical safety, parang in the context of fire prevention. So sir, what can you say
Good
about
morning, Dave. Actually, 40% of fire started with electrical. So, like for example, I don't know if you still remember yung ozone disco fire. That was in 1996. It started with overloaded. So, we in electrical IIEE, Electrical Engineering Organization, we do not agree with the faulty electrical wiring.
Okay.
It's already abused term, no? Because when we say faulty electrical wiring, there's already a problem with the wiring. Actually, it was turned over, no, after the construction, still in good working condition, after commissioning. So there's a problem with the electrical when there's already overloading, no, because of additional load, which was not considered during the new construction of the new building. So that's the reason why there's a cause of fire, because of the overloading and sometimes overheating of some of the appliances, like what happened in Damas de Filipinas. That was in 1998. That was caused by a overheating of an electric fan. So in homes, very important is they should be careful in their appliances. No, after using the appliance, they should unplug it. No, aside from it's consuming electricity, it's prone for overheating.
Okay. So aside from parang we always talk about parang safety, or parang learning about safety starts from the home. And maybe we can talk about home and fire safety from Mr. Martin Aguda, who's a safety and DRR advocate, sir.
Yeah, most of the fires or fire tragedies actually that occurred at home occurs at night, no? So
Yes.
dahil hindi nagigising. So one important gadget that we should have in our homes actually, but it's not required by laws today, is the installation of the so-called smoke detectors, because your smoke detectors will wake you up. Your smoke detectors will scream for you, and you'll have enough time to go out. No? You must understand that in a fire, they say that fire is fast. In a little time, such as 30 seconds, it can burst into a major fire engulfing the entire house. No? Fire is hot. You die actually of inhalation of toxic gases and superheated gases. At the floor, you can have like 100 degrees centigrade temperature, and at the ceiling or eye level, you can have 600 degrees centigrade. So when you inhale the superheated smoke, this will immediately scorch your lungs, and with these temperatures, this will burn your clothing onto your skin. Okay, fire is deadly with the inhalation also of your carbon monoxide and other products of combustion. And fire is dark, no? Madilim ang sunog. Akala ng natin, sunog maliwanag yan. But when the fire starts, the spark, the initial phases, maliwanag. But it will be pitch black, no, when it would produce thick black smoke. No? So, ito yung mga premise natin. So, there's little time that we can evacuate, especially at night when we're at sleep. No? So, one important gadget that I'm advocating ever since, actually, is the use of this so-called smoke detectors. No? The use of smoke detectors, it's very easy. You buy it, you install it, and you check it every now and then. No? So it will just emit this sound. This will be around 85 decibels, enough to wake you up in the middle of the night, no, for you to do the great escape. Okay. And along with installing smoke detectors, where do you place this actually? In the Philippines, as I've mentioned, we don't have laws, no, and local ordinances. But in other countries, in particularly in the U.S., most of the states have existing laws that they should put in standalone smoke detectors in residences. Okay, so where do you put this one? Okay, at least one per floor, and if you have the budget, you can place this actually in each bedroom. Okay, so one per places of sleep, no, or bedrooms. Okay, aside from not being required by the law, actually, bakit wala tayong smoke detectors sa mga bahay natin? No? So siguro, baka mahal. Akala natin mahal. Okay? Nowadays, middle income families can afford to install the DIY CCTVs in their homes. Yeah. That will cost around 10,000 pesos. And nowadays, it's very popular to own your pet dogs, no, for home protection and for pets. And that would cost you around 20,000 plus your maintenance for food and then medications for your pets. But your smoke detectors will cost you around 1,000 pesos. It's standalone. You don't need to do some wirings. You just replace your batteries, 9 volts battery every 6 months. And they say that you replace your smoke detectors every 10 years. No? So, huwag natin sabihin na mahal. No? So, it's just a matter of advocating it and then telling the public that smoke detectors will really save your life. And this will save your life in as much as half of not having smoke detectors.
Okay. Sir, how about for and anyone can jump in, like for low-income families, parang do you have any tips on how they can prevent fires in their homes?
First is identification of the fire hazards in the home. Usually, statistics would show that in ordinary houses, causes of fire, number one, of course, is electrical. Secondly, this is usually caused by LPG, the use of LPG. Okay, that's also a very common cause of fire incidents in houses. If you buy LPG, then buy quality ones. Okay. I mean, you buy the tanks that are properly marked. Do not just buy it from yung mga kung saan-saan lang sa tabi-tabi na saan nire-refill yung tank. Masyadong delikado yon. So, if you will invest, mag-invest tayo doon sa quality tanks. And then, personally, ako, ina-advocate ko rin yung paggagamit natin ngayon ng mga induction cookers. Kasi yung induction cookers, it will just add up a little to your electricity consumption. But then, if you will compare it with LPG, the cost of LPG now, medyo acting konti na lang ang diferensya eh. Yung induction cooker kasi, very safe siya, hindi umiinit. Hindi umiinit yung induction cooker. Even if you put it, say for example, sa ibabaw ng kahoy, yung kahoy, it will not conduct heat dun sa kahoy kasi napaka-safe niyang gamitin. Secondly, itong induction cooker, kahit maiwanan mong nakabukas, hindi siya nagiging cause ng sunog. Unlike pag say for example, nagigisa ka sa kusina mo and then biglang may tumawag sa phone. pinuntahan mo yung phone, nakipagchismisan ka later o nabalikan mo yung ano mo, umiinit na, masyadong mainit na. So nagiging caution na. Itong induction cooker hindi. Medyo safe siya. So aside from that, syempre, yung mga common na flammables or combustibles sa bahay natin, common sense would tell us na dapat hindi yun naaabot ng mga bata. Hindi ba? Yung pagwawalang bahala, yun ang common na nagiging problema rin natin sa bahay. Yung mga Pilipino masyadong complacent pagdating sa fire safety. Hindi natin ugali yung maging fire safety conscious unlike other countries. Sa ibang bansa may mga batas na nagsasabi kailangan meron kang ganito. Dito sa Pilipinas, although may mga batas na nagsasabi na minsan yung owner mismo ng building ayaw niyang mag-comply kasi hindi yan part ng expenses ko ngayon. So, ugali ng Pilipino about fire safety. Siguro simulan natin sa mga bata.
Yes.
Doon naman sa general public naman, constant reminder. I think yun ang solution.
Okay.
Again, David, in addition to the discussion ni Sir Gary, nabanggit niya yung LPG. Sa atin kasi, sa mga tahanan, kung minsan nakakalimutan na ang pagkatapos magluto, ang turn off nila yung knob ng stove. Before the regulator. So, yung haba ng hose niya, meron pa rin siyang fumes. So, siguro baligtarin natin na isara muna natin yung regulator. Then, pag naubos yun doon sa hose niya, definitely mamamatay na yung stove niya, tsaka natin turn off. In addition to that, siguro, tulad ng sinasabi ni Ka Martin na yung mga smoke detector, meron naman tayong mabibili din ngayon na yung mga tinatawag na anti-leak device para sa mga leakage ng mga LPG. Kasi tandaan natin, ang LPG fumes, pag nag-dissipate yan, may mga butas yung hose natin. Yung amoy niyan napakasangsang na, no? Because yung ethyl mercaptan. Pero ang nangangahulugan, pag naamoy natin yan, ibig sabihin, napakataas na ang level niyan. Kasi heavier diyan than air magsisimula sa baba yan. So siguro sa mga residents natin, yung anti-leak device, automatic shut-off device is magandang paraan na para naman sa mga commercial, maglagay na tayo ng automatic shut-off device at saka yung mga gas detector.
Okay. Sige.
Additional, while prevention is better than cure, but sometimes the inevitable will happen.
Yeah.
In case of fire, aside from what I've discussed, having smoke detectors, yung mga pamatay sunog. Well, if you can afford a fire extinguisher, good. No, but kung hindi, isang practical tip, palaging dapat meron kang pail of water in your bathroom, di ba? Kadalasan pag naligo sa gabi, hindi na nilalagyan, hindi na nire-refill. Or pag may shower ka, di ba, wala ka ng pail of water. It's better to have a pail of water always in standby in case of fire emergencies. And another is, if we practice fire drills, emergency evacuation drills in buildings, we should also do that in our homes, di ba? So, find two ways out, always, no? So, yung main pinto mo na dinadaanan mo araw-araw, and another will be a window, for example, no? Sa mga ordinary na bahay natin. And practice it, no? Conduct your drills. Pag tumalon ba ako dyan, gano'n ba kataas yan? So, do I need an escape ladder? Yung mga gano'n. So, drills are important. So, in the US, they have this so-called exit drills in the house. No? So, that should be practiced as well in our homes.
Okay. So, you've mentioned, sir, na parang while prevention is better than the cure, pero sometimes we still have to respond. Parang we can't prevent yung mga big fires. And we have here today Superintendent Reynaldo Lorenzo, the Assistant Regional Director for Administration for the Bureau of Fire Protection, sir. He'll talk about fire response and the protocols in here in the Philippines. So, sir.
Good morning, Dave. Actually, since natapos na natin yung fire prevention, the start of the fire call, yan doon na magsisimula ang response protocol natin. No? At the start, yung responding team natin, yung pinaka tinatawag natin na fire ground commander diyan, ay ma-size up dapat yung lugar kung saan pwede siya maglagay ng isang tinatawag na command center, command post natin. No, yung command post natin, it should be a place where it cannot hamper the operation of the fire, no? Tapos, dapat makikita niya yung kabuuan so that he can give a command para dun sa mga responding firefighters natin dyan. And dala ko rito yung yung memorandum circular na stated kung saan meron tayong mga level of alarm na kung sino yung mga officers na dapat nating makikita during the first alarm, second alarm, hanggang mapunta sa general alarm, no? Yung sinasabi kong memorandum circular na pirmado ni Secretary Robredo pa June 9, 2011, Memorandum Circular 2011, meron tayo rito tinatawag na yung level of alarm ng bawat lugar, na kung saan sa first alarm meron tayong senior fire officer 1 na chief in charge na dapat maging team leader. Sa second alarm merong sa third alarm meron tayong dapat nandoon na yung city or municipal fire marshal na concern. Sa fourth alarm meron tayong tinatawag na district operation chief dito, no? Or in other provinces yung mga provincial chief operation. Kapag nag-task force alpha na yung district fire marshal na concerned doon sa area, siya na yung tatakbo doon sa area, no? Tapos kapag nagkaroon na ng task force Charlie, diyan na pumapasok yung mga deputy regional director for operation, at pagkatapos po noon ay yung regional director.
Sir, can you talk about the extent? Kasi parang when we hear these things in the news, parang it's already Task Force Charlie or Bravo. Parang most people don't understand ano ba yung extent ng damage when we talk about the different levels of fires.
Ganito po yun. Kasi isang pag-responde, depende po sa area, no? Kasi kung ang isang distrito ay, for example, naglalaman siya ng 4 na pong fire truck lang, no? Kung 4 na pong fire truck, ayan ay kung i-divide mo sa number ng alarma ay ilan lang ay tatakbo na siya ng task force. Kapag nag-task force yan, kailangan na niyang humingi ng saklolo sa mga karating na distrito, no? Ibig sabihin, bawa kung District 5 ang nasusunog at hindi na kaya ng distrito, papasok na dyan ng District 1, District 3, District 2. Andiyan na i-handle na yan ng mas mataas na opisyal. Hindi na siya District Fire Marshal ang mag-handle. Tatakbo na po ang Regional Director. So, dyan po pinapakita na ang Regional Director, kung talagang hindi na po kakayanin ng kabuang equipment and personnel ng NCR, magtatap na po yan ng general alarm. Ibig sabihin, all serviceable fire trucks na available should be there.
Okay.
So, yun po ang, it will depend on the equipment and personnel available.
I think Sir Martin has something to add.
Siguro sir, para malinawan din yung public, no? Kasi naririnig natin yung first alarm. Ano po ba to? Sa laki buwan ng sunog po to? At saka ilang pong fire trucks ang nagre-responde pagka first, second? Okay, can you give us the idea, sir?
So, ganito po ang during the start of the fire call sa isang stasyon, meron na po tayong caller na tinatawag sa kabilang linya, no? Ngayon, sinasabi na po yan kung ang involved ay residential. Kung siya ay positive na residential at malit lang meron tayong pinatatakbo isa hanggang 2 fire truck with the yung ship OIC nung truck, no? Upon sizing up nung unang responder natin at nakita at meron na siyang visible fire or smoke, no, doon sa area. Nasa pagsa-size up nung first responder natin yan, kung kailangang i-raise to second or third alarm yung alarma natin. Ang purpose nito ay para hindi naman masyado maging waste yung lahat ay tatakbo kagad without knowing ay rabies fire lang pala yun.
Okay.
So, yun doon sa kabilang linya ang nagbibigay ng info sa responding unit natin.
Okay.
Martin, siguro, Colonel Lorenzo, mag-a-agree din sa akin. Kasi pag ikaw dumating, responding team ka, nakita mo, yung mga kabahayan, lalo't maliliit ang iskinita at mga light materials niya, kagaya sa ating mga Islam area, no? Minsan, tinataas na kagad nila alarma para tumulong na kagad yung mga magsusupply din ng tubig. May mga pagkakataon na gano'n.
Definitely, most yung Pilipinas kapag ganyan, nakikita mo na kagad sa kalye at nagsisigawan yan. Upon arrival nung first responder natin, matik yan, pag na-size up nila na more than 1 or 2 houses na ang involved, that's the time na mag-raise
Tataas na kagad ng alarma. Minsan kasi malayo pa yan visible pa lang yung size up ng responding fire truck. Pag nakita yung yung usok doon sa area, hindi pa siya nakakarating, itinataas na alarma niya para matulungan kagad, mapula kagad yung apoy doon sa area.
And we also have here Mr. J. Palom, who's the President and Managing Director of the United Fire Volunteers. No? Parang you're fire responders, but you're volunteers. Parang you're not required to do so. Parang how's your experience responding to the fires here in Metro Manila and in the nearby provinces?
Thank you very much, Dave, and thank you very much for inviting us on this show. Actually, before I answer your question, let's also first discuss where the history of volunteerism here in the country. Actually, before the Americans actually even came, time of Spaniards, the expectation was street sweepers and people that can actually help the firemen during that time would volunteer their service, right? But during the time of the Americans, when the Americans actually created the Manila Fire Department, way back in Escolta, San Nicolas, a lot of people still help, the Manila Fire Department. So what actually happened during the 1950s and 1960s, when there was a major fire in Chinatown, Binondo, a lot of Filipino Chinese businessmen got together and bought their own fire truck to help to augment the Manila Fire Department. It actually started with the Manila Fire Department, then it actually grew and it grew. But the purpose here is to augment, right, the Bureau of Fire Protection, and not lead, letting BFP be on our back. No, the concept here is to help the Bureau of Fire Protection fight fires. There's actually a lot of partnership, integration, and camaraderie, for both Bureau of Fire Protection and the volunteer fire community.
Okay. So do you only respond to fire alarms, or you also help in times of disasters?
Very good question, Dave. Actually, just to also answer the comment coming from Chief Superintendent. Actually, here in our volunteer group association, we actually created our own coding system, not to surpass the BFP alarm system. For us, it's just proactiveness, right? So, for example, if ever BFP puts on first alarm, sometimes we actually code it to code 2, or technically it's second alarm. Again, with the concept coming from Sir Miranda, so that more firefighters can go to the fire scene, so that they would know, we still need to supply water to the BFP or to the volunteer. So the higher it actually goes, the more that we need help to suppress the fire. So again, volunteerism here in the Philippines, actually it's pro bono, right? We don't get anything coming from the government. We don't get anything coming from anyone. It's really our time, our devotion. Sometimes it becomes a hobby for us, and that's the reason why Martin was actually right. He also wanted to discuss funding for us, but sometimes the brigade funds itself. It's not even anyone. If ever we have a big donor, then that's fine. That's that's great. But even the volunteer fire brigades sometimes have opportunities or challenges in terms of funding. But we love what we're doing. We're here to support the BFP, and we're here to save lives and properties.
Okay. Do you have anything to add? Yeah.
Siguro, I think, bago ko makalimutan to, gusto ko i-correct yung mentality o thinking ng ating mga mamamayan, no? Kuminsan kasi ang fire truck, pag rumusponde na, sabi mo 1,500 gallons yan, yung 2.5 diameter ng hose mo, within 1 to 5 minutes, ubos yan. So kung nakaposition na yung fire truck mo, hindi na pwedeng pull out yun, palitan mo ng panibagong may laman eh. So makikita mo, nakatambay yung mga ibang fire truck. doon naman, yung tinatawag na nagsusupply doon sa fire truck na nandun sa harapan, ang tawag natin dyan, engine relay. Hindi mo na kailangan hugutin pa yung naunang fire truck. Susupply na lang tubig yan. Kaya kung minsan mga tao sinasabi, ang daming fire truck, wala namang ginagawa. So yung engine relay yung ginagawa po natin doon.
Okay. In terms of, for example, if there's a major fire, what's the, kumbaga, anong target response time for BFP?
Actually, meron tayong 7 minutes ang target natin, no. Here in Metro Manila, medyo merong konting mga delay dito because of the traffic, because of the street, and so many obstacle na pwedeng mangyari. Pero standard yun na less than 7 minutes the fire vehicle should be there.
Pero Dave, kung minsan ang Bureau of Fire in 7 minutes or 5 minutes hindi ma-meet eh. Bakit po? Wala po kasing tumatawag sa Bureau of Fire eh. Hindi naman po kami manghuhula para tumakbo ang fire truck namin.
Yeah, it will start from the fire call.
Yes, from the call.
It will commence on the start of the fire call. And
How's the coordination between BFP and the local governments? Kasi some local governments are really good in their response.
Local government, the local
And
government
with
units.
and with the volunteer.
Local government units also are required to support the Bureau of Fire Protection. Under the fire code again, they are supposed to coordinate, and we are supposed to coordinate the Bureau of Fire and then the LGUs. Okay, in Metro Manila, they play a very big part, very important role. In some cities, they provide fire trucks. They provide even allowances to our firemen so that their income would be augmented, and a lot of cities in Metro Manila also provided rescue equipments for our firemen. In terms of volunteer brigades is a very important part of the system of fire suppression. Without them, I think you would observe that in Metro Manila we have lesser fire trucks as compared to the ideal number of fire trucks. This is being augmented by volunteer fire brigades. Ang kagandahan kasi sa volunteer fire brigade, they do not follow procurement law in purchasing their fire trucks. They can buy as
long
big
as they have funds.
Yes, as long as they have funds. So they play a big part in the suppression. Tulad ng sinasabi ni Engineer Miranda kanina, pag nauna, say for example, yung fire department, yung Bureau of Fire doon sa unahan, yung mga responding volunteers natin would only supply water. But without this water, the fire suppression cannot go on. So very important yung coordination nitong tatlo na to: LGU, Volunteer Fire Brigade, and Bureau of Fire Protection.
And siguro the public na rin. Kailangan maintindihan ng public natin na yung kanina na Engineer Miranda, naubusan ng tubig agad. No? So people tend to be violent. No, and they curse our firefighters, be it the Bureau of Fire Protection, the volunteers, and even threaten them with violence, di ba, ng rage, no. Siguro have to educate the public na walang fire truck na nagre-respond din na walang tubig. Diba? That's mahirap ipaliwanag yun. In fact, you will not respond kung hindi ka rin capable to do firefighting. Nauubos lang talaga yung tubig. And they have to understand yung mga ganyan. And the public, especially when faced with emergency, dapat iniintindi rin natin. Pero dapat iniintindi rin nila yung ating mga fire heroes.
Okay.
And Dave, just to also add, sorry. Actually, the coordination coming from the BFP actually starts not just on the fire call, but they actually listen to our communications network. And we also do the same, right?
Yes.
We have a 24/7, 365 days in a year live communications network. And we listen to BFP. BFP listens to us. And they also listen to the other 5 associations, volunteer associations that we have here in Metro Manila, and even for example, in Cebu. I think just to also augment what Martin actually said, he's right. Education is really key. One thing more is crowd control when they're during the fire scene, and we would like to ask our local barangays to help us, because it's very, very difficult for us to work both together, the government and the volunteer, if ever the crowd is very rowdy, and sometimes we even need police assistance during that time.
Okay. We have some questions from our from Twitter, from Thomas Stickney at Thomas Twitch 91. From someone that has no experience in first aid, what steps can we take when giving first aid to a burn victim before help arrives?
Unang-una, we need to do rescue. Okay, take that person off the fire emergency, and there are certain levels of burns: first degree, second degree, third degree. What's important, we remove the clothing if the clothing is on fire. Then because the burning material of the clothing is still heated, and that can still cause continuous burns in the skin. It depends on the level and the depth of the fire. So I think it is better to learn formal first aid rather than teaching
It
here.
depends on the degree of burn.
Yep.
In addition, if they really have no knowledge about first aid, you know what, it is a standard operating procedure on the Bureau of Fire that every fire incident, there must be some ambulances that respond to that.
Okay.
So they can actually look for the AMS rescuers of the Bureau of Fire Protection. So they are better trained to deal on burns and some other medical problems.
And I think they have to really bring the burn patient to a medical facility for further treatment. They don't have to the self-medication, self-treatment is not recommended, especially with fires, because especially with burns, because there's this possibility of contamination and infection in the future.
Okay. I have one more question here from Twitter, from Isa Denise. If I'm trapped inside my house and there's nowhere to go when there's a fire, what should I do?
Okay. If you're trapped, then you better crawl and find a safe place, probably an enclosed or a place that cannot be immediately penetrated by fire. Do not go to, and the common thing that you do is you go to the bathroom and think that you're safe in the bathroom.
Yes.
The best thing is you crawl, because probably there's still oxygen at the bottom part of the area. So you crawl and probably find a way out. If there's a way for you to call the attention of the public or the firemen that are responding, then it will give you an opportunity to be saved. So find a place where you can call attention, and then if you have, say for example, white cloth or that you can wave so that people will be alerted and rescue you, then that would be a better idea.
Okay. I have one more question from Zach Yuson. How can we teach better fire safety in schools and to parents? Kasi nga we all talk about parang fire safety, or parang learning about prevention starts from the home.
We are already starting. We have these programs like the Berong Bombero. We have this mascot which we bring to schools.
Okay.
And then we already started this KIDI in Junior Fire Marshal project. We are trying to incorporate fire safety subjects into general subjects like teaching and home economics, araling panlipunan. There's actually a module developed for that. We are doing this at an early stage, elementary and high school levels. Now that K-12 is being implemented, we have strengthened this program by adding more time to the grade 7 or grade 8 levels. We have actually started implementing it in one school in Quezon City, where a regular lecturer from Quezon City Fire District regularly goes to the school. Parang regular na teacher lang din siya. Yung oras niya, may fixed na oras siya. So he is just like an ordinary teacher. So kasama na ito doon sa K-12 program. Ini-strengthen natin yung part na yon. And of course, yung mga wala naman sa school, ang ginagawa namin, we go to their houses. Ngayong March, ini-encourage namin lahat ng aming mga fire stations to make a house-to-house information campaign, especially in the informal settlers group. No, very important 'yon. sinabi ko kanina, doon sa mga matured, ang kailangan doon ay constant reminder. No, kasi minsan nagiging aware lang yung publiko pag March kasi Fire Prevention Month. But every day is a Fire Prevention Day. So kung yung bata sinisimula naming i-inculcate sa early stage, sa early childhood nila, yung mga matatanda naman, constant reminder naman. Yun po dapat ang nagiging technique natin.
Yeah,
Okay.
sabi nga namin dito, yung gamot sa nakakalimot ay paalala.
Okay.
So patuloy-tuloy kami dun sa aming barangay ugnayan in addition sa yung sinabanggit ni Sir Gary.
Okay.
Actually, ang schedule namin minsan ngayon, Sabado, Linggo.
And Dave, just to also add, the BFP and volunteer doesn't just partner during fires. We also partner during education. So, BFP, our BFP counterparts are right. They go to schools, and for us, we also go to barangays as well, just like what they do. But what we actually do is to augment, right? Of course, our BFP partners cannot do it just by themselves, right? Fire safety is everyone's importance. Everyone should know the proper fire safety protocols and awareness. That's the reason why we just don't do parades or caravans during March. It's a constant month over month education because anytime a fire can actually happen. I'd also like to add, and we're celebrating Women's Month today. This month as well. And I would like to also congratulate BFP. For the recent years, they have augmented women in the fire service. Just like for us in the volunteer fire service, for example, we have here. She's actually my wife. She's also doing. She's actually the fire marshal of our association. So it only means that men and women are here to fight fires, right? Both government and the volunteer. It's everyone's problem. It's everyone's accountability and responsibility.
Okay. I'd like to ask one more question for the volunteers. Parang kasi there might be people who are interested to join to be a fire volunteer. Parang who trains the volunteers with?
Actually, that's a very good question again. Based on the new fire code, it's actually the BFP. There's a competency training that BFP actually provides. But since the fire code was implemented, it's very, very difficult to provide those competency trainings because of all the things that we actually do. But what we do, of course, we follow the BFP procedures. But what we also do is that we train by ourselves. But still, it's not the official competency training being provided by law. But sometimes actually there's a saying, you get trained when there's an actual fire. So when your elders or brothers are actually fighting fires, sometimes they actually have probationary volunteers, and we actually train them on live fires, or sometimes during exercises. That we actually do, regularly, month over month.
Is there a governing body or like an accreditation process for the volunteers?
Yes.
For volunteer organizations?
Again,
Can you
it's
talk about
the
it?
BFP. Before we can be registered as a non-government organization.
Okay.
The application should actually go to the Bureau of Fire Protection, whether it's the regional director or the city fire marshal. It needs to be seconded, by the government, which is represented by the Bureau of Fire Protection. SEC actually defers the application to BFP, and that's the reason why the partnership and the relationship is very strong because both parties rather need each other, not just during fire, but even off fire.
From the BFP, so far, how many volunteer groups do we have, sir? Do you have a number? Accredited groups that can respond?
Can I answer? On behalf, there's actually a lot. Just to talk about my association, we're 800 plus firefighters. We have 100 plus fire trucks. Not all of us are actually still registered. It's still under process rather. But we also have barangay fire brigades, and sometimes the barangay fire brigades, you cannot do a SEC registration there because it's local government, right? So what we do is we teach them again. We actually provide them the right training process and education. but there's actually a lot. And again, the goal here is not to be the first one, but really to help partner together with the Bureau of Fire Protection.
Sige, sir. Do you have any, as we wrap up our conversation?
Since our topic is fire safety and the number one cause of the fire in the Philippines is electrical. I'd like Engineer Tan to discuss more on the basics of fire safety. I mean electrical safety, which will prevent fire.
All right. So actually, in IAEE, we have electrical safety enforcement awareness. No, we go to school and conduct inspection, and as a matter of fact, we have already a program which is school safety, and it's more concentration on electrical. I would like to promote our Philippine Electrical Code because it's very clear that if we will follow the electrical code, then it will prevent fire. No, it's not only for design, but actually it's electrical safety in the workplace, in our homes. No, a lot of fires causes are due to overloading. One is, for example, if you will charge your cell phone. No? Nowadays, a lot of fires are cause of overcharging of cell phones. No, another thing is this. I don't know if you know this small light lamp, overnight lamp. This also causes fire, and I would like to also to promote the arc flash or arc fault circuit interrupter. This is a new device. This is more advanced compared to circuit breaker, but I don't know if, of course, the cost. But if there is already an arcing inside the home, this will automatically trips. No? So, for me, if we will talk about prevention, we should be more focused on electrical safety.
Engineer, I'd like to add. Common na nangyayari sa bahay natin is may circuit breaker, right? And then if there is anything wrong with our electrical system, then the circuit breaker actually trips and cuts the electricity. Ang common practice is hindi chine-check yung system, ibinabalik lang. Is that advisable?
Actually, we need to check the fault. No, it's not really advisable that if after the fault you will just switch it on.
Yes.
What do you mean by fault? May
Kung
ano yung cause nung
may cause, may cause, no. You need to consult an electrician or an electrical engineer. So that's the problem here in the Philippines because sometimes they just switch it on back. Then sometimes if they are still using the fuse, they will replace it with a foil. What we call this? The jumper, palaran ng sigarilyo. Yes, they will use that. So that is already not acceptable for the Philippine Electrical Code.
The public should understand that since the circuit breakers actually tip, meaning there's a problem with the electrical system. Maaring may nagdikit na yung positive negative that causes the trip of the circuit breaker. So kailangan ninyong i-check muna, i-correct muna yung sistema na yon or yung pagkakamali na yon bago natin ibalik yung circuit breaker. Tayo sa bahay, minsan pag nag-trip, hindi nga natin pinapansin ano naging cause ng trip, ibabalik lang natin agad. So there's no problem.
Pero I think, Engineer, if we are using the circuit breaker, pag nag-trip na yan, hanggang hindi mo ginagawa yung problema,
it will not,
hindi
mag-on.
Naka-stay on-off yan.
That's right.
Maliban lang dun sa mga fuse, na sinabi nga, may isang papalitan, lalagyan na lang ng alambre. So, nag-over ka na dun sa protection mo kasi hindi na yun ang tamang ampere rating.
Another thing is, common sa atin sa Pilipino is nagdadagdag tayo ng mga appliances. But the problem is, yung wiring sa loob ng bahay is designed for such load only. So, wala nang nagkakaroon ng overload. So, we need to consult an engineer or electrician.
This is a very practical question. You can buy from hardwares in the supermarket your extension cords for 500 pesos, but you can buy that 100 pesos in the banqueta. So how safe is that?
No, it's not safe kasi you need to check yung capacity, yung ampere rating nung ano. Kasi minsan substandard yung mga wires na ginagamit. So that's why DTI requires yung mga extension, meron dapat mga marking yon, PS mark or ICC. Quality markings.
Another usual question, Engineer, is that you can buy from supermarkets as much as 8 slots.
Yes.
Is that advisable?
No.
To the public?
Yan yung nagsasabi, nag-overload na tayo doon. Yes. So kailangan mas maganda nga kung mayroong mga fuse yung mga individual fuse.
But you cannot use it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Okay.
kasi yung buong
Capacity
wire na hindi
ng-
nakakaya ng capacity.
Okay, so I think we see the
It might be
importance of...
the extension cord you buy can carry, pero yung outlet na pinagsaka mo,
Yes.
baka hindi na rin kayanin.
Okay. So there's really much to be done in terms of preparation in the electrical systems ng house for safety.
I think, Dave, one more thing before I forget, since engineer here represented from the IIE, no, the Institute of Electrical Engineering, wherein I was also belong, as being the Chief Fire Safety Enforcement Division in the National, one of our problem is yung statistic ng fire. Ang isa sa malaki dyan na nakikita namin yung electrical post. So I think we have to coordinate with us. We have to coordinate with that matters. Kasi hindi naman yung mga responding din, hindi naman kagad mapatayan eh. As long as the electrical current still ongoing yun dun sa wire niya. Wala namang capacity ng Bureau of Fire para i-off yan. So I think we need to talk about that para magkaroon tayong coordination with the Meralco.
Okay. So do you have any final words for our audiences as we wrap up our discussion? I think we've talked a lot about preparation in the home, parang building safety, how people can be involved in terms of electrical safety, also in terms of response.
For me as a final reminder in
Yeah.
terms of fire emergency preparedness, as I have advocated, get your smoke detectors, you get it, install it, and check it regularly, and have a fire evacuation plan. And I would like to encourage everyone to conduct their drills regularly, not only during March, not only during the fire prevention month, because as we do the drills regularly, be it a fire drill or earthquake drill, the children will get accustomed to all the immediate action drills, as we call it. Diba? Mas madali nilang matandaan. So if they hear the fire alarm, automatic na yung kanilang ginagawa.
Okay.
Well, sabi nga natin, today is the observance of fire prevention, no, under Presidential Proclamation 115-A. So, ang team slogan natin, lagi nating aming ina-advocate ngayon, kaligtasan ng sunog, alamin, gawin, at isabuhay natin.
Okay. Sir.
The topic that was assigned to me was building fire safety. No, I was only able to discuss sprinkler system, but there are other fire safety systems in the building which you can use, and you should be acquainted of. Say for example, meron din tayong fire hose cabinet. Paano ba ginagamit yung fire hose cabinet? Meron din naman tayong fire alarm system sa building. Paano ba ginagamit yun? Meron tayong fire extinguishers. We have exit signages. We have heat detectors, smoke detectors as being promoted by Sir Martin. Now, we should be familiar with all of this, especially if we are housed, say for example, in a condominium unit where we are billeted, say for example, in the 30th floor. You better be familiar with the fire safety systems in that building. So hindi lang po yung sprinkler system. Again, I'd like to rate, there are other fire systems in the building which you must be acquainted. You know how to use it, and you must know how to activate it so that not only you will be saved, but other occupants of the building will
You
be
should
saved.
ask the administrators of the buildings, parang, ito ba yung ano yung guidelines nyo, di ba?
Yes, we usually also conduct fire drills in buildings just like the one I already described. Kailangan mandatory sa amin yun, nagagawin namin sa kanila para lahat ng tao ay nakakaalam kung paano gamitin yun. And then, ugaliin din natin na mag-participate kasi minsan kung yung katulong lang ang pinapa-attend natin doon sa mga lectures, yung mga drills na yun eh. So, wala tayong interest. So, I think we should also be aware of those processes and the activation of those equipments. Yeah.
Okay. Sir.
Okay, we in IIE and the Safety Organization of the Philippines advocates more on the prevention. No? So for electrical safety, I would say they should consult electrical engineers. They could call us in IIE for some advice when it comes to electrical wirings, and also Safety Organization of the Philippines, which I'm the secretary. So that's for prevention rather than
Sir,
firefighting.
do we have a database of IEE
Yes.
experts?
Yes.
Where can people get that?
They could contact us in Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers, our office in Cubao. No? We have a lot of electrical engineers willing to help, no? And we are very willing to advise, especially in electrical wiring in
Okay.
homes.
Sige. Sir.
Okay, in terms of fire response naman, in spite of all the ugnayan sa barangay, no?
Okay.
In spite of all the ugnayan sa barangay, mananawagan na lang ako sa mga kababayan natin na during fire, kung pwede lang sana, i-follow natin yung coordinating procedure ng barangay at ng police. Kasi marami tayong mga kababayan na inaagaw yung mga hose during fire. Minsan ay pinuputol pa nila yung hose just to take advantage of the water na manggaling dun sa ng fire truck para doon naman nila sa bahay nila. So
It's on mute.
dun sa recent fire dito sa Parolas at saka yung sa Pasay, I noticed na meron ding dapat katungkulan ng mga kababayan natin dyan na i-caution yung mga ganitong klaseng tao na nagte-take advantage and masyado sila nakakasira sa fire operation. No? Masyadong mahirap sa mga bumbero na gawin ang katungkulan nila kung lahat ng mga residente dyan na nasunugan ay nakaharang din doon sa lugar kung saan nasusunog yung bahay nila. Napakahirap na kami rin yung saway sa kanila since under the memorandum circular na signed by the DILG, the inner cordoning of the barangay and the outer cordoning of the PNP should be implemented always, no? Kaya lang, masyadong marami tayong kababayan na matitigas ang ulo, masyadong marami pasaway.
Okay. Can I have Okay. So, sir, wait, let me check this.
Okay.
Okay.
For me, just a takeaway, Dave. Again, we have a hotline number to call. I know that the government is advocating 117.
Yes.
So you have 117 to call. I would also like to advise our citizens to also know the individual numbers of the fire houses near their area, the government. But for us, for volunteers, we have a hotline. It's 513-4630. It's 513-4630, and they can call anytime. Just make sure that it's not a hoax, because we're very serious with our response time. In addition to that, I'd also like to remind everyone that your firefighters or firemen, it's not just here during fires. We're also, just like what Martin would say, we're also here for other disasters, just like the typhoon, the storms. You can see your firemen really going to to those high level waters just to rescue people. So a lot of things are being done by the firemen. So thank you very much for that.
Okay. So, thanks again for joining us, everyone. I think we've had a very fruitful discussion on from fire prevention to fire safety and to fire response, diba? Which is very important. So, thanks again for joining us. We can continue the discussion online. You can tweet us at Rappler and MoveBH, and we can forward the questions to our experts here. So, thank you very much again for joining us here today. And this is David Lozada, and thank you for joining us in Project Move, our series on foresight and safety, our public information series on safety and fostering a culture of preparedness. Thank you very much.